Hey there, it is Emily of E Squared Photography, and today I am going to talk all about where to focus. So when you are looking to focus your camera and you have a big group or a big family, where should you put your focus point? That is what we're going to talk about today. And make sure to stick around until the end because I have something special just for you. I promise by the end of this video, you are going to have a better grasp on how to focus, where to focus for a family session. And for the best photography tips and tricks, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell for notifications of future videos. So first things first, before we look through some examples, I just want to talk about how we personally focus with our DSLR camera, which we shoot with a Nikon D750, or our mirrorless, which we shoot with a Nikon Z7. And now we shoot with the mirrorless a lot more than the D750, but let's talk about how we focus differently with the two of those. So with our DSLR, we use something called single point focus when we focus. And really what that is there is going to be a single box focal point that we can move around, or we can use the focus and recompose method to focus on where we want to focus for that picture. For our mirrorless camera, we use something called auto area AF, and we use eye and face tracking. So that makes it super easy. It's kind of cheating. The camera is helping us pick where it thinks it should focus, and it does a really good job of that. That's why we love our mirrorless. And as far as focus mode goes, which is another setting on your camera, we use on both our mirrorless and our DSLR, we use something called AFC, autofocus continuous, or AI servo if you're shooting Canon. Okay, so now I'm going to go over a variety of examples and tell you where we would focus. Now again, our mirrorless kind of picks it for us. Our DSLR, we have to choose where we're focusing. So we're gonna talk about that. In this first picture, we have a straight line, so everybody is on the same plane. So technically, it doesn't matter where we focus, but in a situation like this, we are going to focus on the center person. So here we're going to focus on dad. Now, in these next two images, it's very similar. So if you look at both of these images, again, there's only two people now in both of them, but they are both on the same plane. Their faces are on the same plane. So we, again, can focus on either person. So I would assume for both, we're going to focus on the image on the left, we're gonna focus on the bigger girl. And the image on the left, we're gonna focus on mom because mom is always the most important one. Now, I should mention in all of these examples, we are focusing on their face, or if we're close enough and can pick a focal point, we pick their eyes as well. Whatever eye is closest to the camera is typically what we do. Now, in these two examples here, the image on the left, we are gonna focus on the younger girl there because she is slightly closer to the camera. So we're going to pick her for our focal point. And then the image on the right, it probably doesn't matter, but I do see that the younger girl, again, is just a little bit further ahead, so we're gonna focus on her. A couple more images. The image here on the left of the mom and the little baby, we're gonna focus on mom here. It doesn't matter, again, they're on the same plane, so it really wouldn't matter who we focus on. The image on the right of the family, or the kids playing the Ring Around the Rosie game, we are going to basically focus wherever we can as they're going through this and spinning around really quickly. Preferably we'll focus on someone in the front, so either the tall boy or the little girl. But again, in this situation, we're just snapping a ton of pictures and trying to get one that's nice and sharp and focus, because you're not always going to get all of those images sharp when you're shooting that, because it's hard when they're moving so quickly. One bonus tip, make sure you are shooting at a higher shutter speed for those. For these images here, for the family on the left, we are going to focus on, whenever there's two rows, we're gonna focus on the front row center person. So here we're going to focus on little Gus. And on the picture on the right of just one person, he is straight on to the camera. If he was turned slightly a little bit, we would focus on one of his eyes versus the other. But when somebody is straight on like this, we can focus on either eye. If somebody turns like this, we're gonna focus on this eye to keep everything behind it in focus. Comment below and tell us what is one of your biggest frustrations when you're shooting family sessions. In these two images here, the one on the left, we are going to focus on who the center of attention is, which is little baby Knox. So we are going to focus on him. And if mom and dad fall a little bit out of focus, that is totally fine. And then the image on the right, that one gets a little bit tricky, but if you do look close, they are pretty much all on the same plane. What we did here was we had mom and dad come up from behind and scare the little kids, but then we told them to keep their faces close to the kids. So they are all kind of pretty much on the same plane. We probably focused on the tall boy or the little girl because they're in the center. Looking at these two images here, the one on the left, the main focus of this image really is the little boy coming down the slide first and his sister. We chose to focus on the little boy here. He's pretty much on the same plane as mom and dad in this picture. And then as you notice, when we focused on him, it led for her in the background to be nice and the little girl to be nice and sharp too. In the picture on the right of the dad with the little boys, dad is in the middle. They're pretty much on the same plane. We're gonna focus on dad. And let's take a look at our last couple of examples. So the image here on the left, we are going to focus on the older boy here. He's slightly in front of the younger boy. Now this was a movement shot, but we didn't have them walking very fast. We told them to walk very slow, but he kind of fell a little bit in front of the little one, so we focused on him instead of the little one. If we would have focused on the little boy, there was a possibility that the older boy would be out of focus. And now the image on the right of the larger group, the grandparents with all their grandkids, you can see there that there's about 2 rows of kids and grandparents. We're gonna focus on the front and center person, which in this case was probably the little girl. So hopefully that was helpful and gave you lots of ideas on how to focus, what focus settings to use, and just where to focus and what we kind of do. Now, if you are new to family photography or wanna see us shoot a whole family behind the scenes at a session, we do have a clip of an entire session of us at a family session, and you can get access to that in the description below. So make sure to check that out. And if you like this video, make sure to subscribe and share with a friend so we know to make more videos just like this one. And if you don't already, follow us on Instagram at e2photography, and we will see you next week.